Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education. Today is Wednesday, March 18th. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll continue with the reading of the mission statement. We are committed to academic achievement and success for all students in a safe environment. In partnership with families in our community, our mission is to promote confidence, inspire a passion for learning, and to prepare our students to become responsible global citizens. Is there a motion to approve the revised agenda?
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carries. Questions and comments from interested citizens. We have one comment from Carol Soteropoulos. Welcome, Carol.
Is this on, or do I have to do something? Oh, it's on, okay. Good evening. First, I would like to thank you all for your service. I haven't been to a meeting before, but I've read your backgrounds, and they're very impressive. I'm so impressed. And I understand the commitment and dedication that it means to serve on a school board. I was on one in Massachusetts back in the late 1980s. I'm now a grandparent who became guardian of a grandson a few years ago. He was wonderfully served in the Monroe-Woodbury schools, and I feel very fortunate to have experienced excellent communications with his teachers and administrators, and including Ms. Gentile, who registered him. Thank you. So my request for time at this meeting concerns in our community. I'm co-organizer of a local nonpartisan group that advocates for immigrant rights. Hands Off Hudson Valley is its name, and I'm representing the group here today, foremost to share some information with you. I've spoken before the Monroe Town and Village Boards, both informationally and to request their adoption of resolutions in support of two bills before the state legislature, the MELT Act, which means mandating an end to lawless tactics, and New York for All Act, which would prohibit state and local police officers from collaborating with ICE to enforce federal immigration laws and from sharing sensitive information with ICE. It would also prohibit ICE agents from entering non-public areas of state and local property without a judicial warrant, and would ensure that people in custody are given notice of their rights before being interviewed by ICE. The Monroe Town Board has passed a resolution in support of the MELT Act and has committed to the New York for All Act resolution. These resolutions then go to our state legislators, Speaker of the House, Senate President, and Governor. We hope the acts then get the requisite number of votes to be passed into law. Our group has had several conversations with the Village of Monroe Police Chief Guzman beginning in August and ongoing. This can take place March 27th, and with the participation of a member of the local resident rapid response group. Ongoing communication is so important. We understand the school department has a general policy that covers all visitors to the schools. But unless I'm missing something in all the policies, I've read through them all, there is none that are specific to ICE. We're sure you're guided by the protocol set out by the State Attorney General, but what would be helpful in the interest of communication is if you would consider a public statement, something similar to what I can show you from Newburgh, but more specific to Monroe-Woodbury. And if I'm going to just hand these up here. They're 12. And I know this isn't to be a dialogue. I'm just shared communication and the hope that there could be some kind of a public statement which would inform the community the way the Chief of Police of Monroe is trying to do and different officials in the town. And I don't know about Woodbury. I live in Monroe. Okay, so if I can follow up, though, with this, I don't know who would be the appropriate person or persons to contact. That's the only question that I would have.
The district clerk.
You can contact me, Diane.
Diane Gentile, the registrar.
The registrar.
Now
the registrar.
Now the registrar. Okay, very good. Okay, thank you. for your attention. I appreciate it very much, having been given this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Saratropoulos. Next up, there is a presentation on the district goals.
Budget.
Budget presentation for the 26-27 school year. Mr. Cahill.
Great. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to present the proposed personnel budget for the 26-27 school year. Before I get started, I also want to thank the business office for their help and preparation in developing the overall budget and also this presentation, specifically Patrick Cahill, Michael Bucamonte, and Patricia Wallace. They played an integral part in this, so thank you to their efforts. Tonight I will be reviewing the following things: the full-time equivalents, the FTEs district-wide, the special aid fund FTEs, the expenditures and salaries for the proposed budget for 26-27, and then also the employee benefits as well. Tonight I'm going to walk you through the FTE changes in the general fund. So you'll see three columns here. You'll see what was allocated in the 25-26 school year. In the middle, you have on the left the 26-27 proposed allocation of FTEs, and then the difference all the way to the right. The vast majority of these changes you're seeing are due to recoding existing staff. They're not necessarily increases or decreases in the number of employees that we have district-wide. For example, you'll notice an increase in the curriculum development and supervision going from 5 to 7. That's simply the result of moving two existing staff members that we have into that code or that line from another budget line. On the flip side, you're going to see a decrease in certain areas such as transportation, security. That doesn't necessarily mean that we are reducing positions or funding allocated towards those positions. It could reflect breakage. It could reflect roles that are currently being filled by substitutes, which are not considered full-time equivalents, so they would not count in our overall FTEs for next school year as well. If you have more questions about specific lines, I certainly can answer those for you. The most significant change appears, obviously, if you're looking at the difference in our teaching, special education, and ELL, which is our instructional staff. That's driven by three main factors. First, we're shifting 6 positions from grant funding into the general fund. So 6 FTEs that are traditionally or this past school year that have been funded by grants, that is being moved into the general fund, so it's a reallocation of funding. While it looks like there's an increase in 17 FTEs, it doesn't necessarily, again, mean that it is 17 new positions. It's just a shift due to the funding, but not necessarily new positions. Second, we are recommending 9 additional new positions for next school year, which includes 5 teachers, 1 school psychologist, and 3 teaching assistants. 8 of those positions, the teachers and the teaching assistants, would fall into the difference here for next school year. And then the third factor that we consider is budgeting for potential increases in teacher aides, which is driven by student IEPs. So if a student enrolls during the school year and they have an IEP that states that they are entitled to a one-to-one aid, we're obligated to provide that for that service during the middle of the school year. So during the school year, that is an increase that we have that we may not have budgeted for. If that position remains and the student is still with us the following school year, the subsequent school year, the IEP is intact and still recommending the same support service, we now need to budget for those aids for our student population. So those are the three main factors when you see the difference in FTEs for our staffing.
Mr. Berger, I have
Yes.
some questions
Sure.
on that. So you said it's not really an increase in staffing, but the total is almost 13 new head count. Student population has dropped 4.2% since 2024 and 10% since 2017. So can you please, for the community, help the community understand a 13 head count FTE increase when we have student enrollment going down?
Sure, and it's not necessarily 13. Again, we have, as I said, we have some teacher aides that are being accounted for based on the special education services and the IEPs that we're providing. So there are a couple of there. 6 of those FTEs are being moved from grant funding into the general fund, which you have the remaining 8 or so that are new hires. Those 8 new hires that are included in here, 5 of them are teachers. So those include current temporary elementary positions. We have a general education at Central Valley and a special education at Pine Tree that were added this year due to enrollment increases within that grade level or within the special education program that we needed to open new sections for. We expect those needs to continue, so we're recommending those 2 temporary positions from this year become probationary for next year. That's 2 of the positions. We're recommending adding a literacy coach and a math coach at the elementary level as well. And then the 5th teaching position would be, we're recommending a JROTC Army instructor at the high school. One thing to consider with that position is that 50% of the salary is reimbursed actually by the Army. In addition, it's not necessarily reflected in this budget line, but it is an overall addition to our proposed budget. We are recommending 1 school psychologist who would primarily serve as a CSE chair at the elementary level. So that is something that's in line with our other levels. We currently have a CSE chair at the secondary level. We have a CPSE chair at the preschool level. We don't have one at the elementary level. So that is a recommendation to be able to provide that support at the elementary level, partly, and then also to provide some additional counseling support at our elementary level as well. The 3 teaching assistants are being recommended. 1 is at the elementary level, 2 is at the high school. That's to support consistency and equity amongst our special education programs so that programs are able to have the same offerings of staff at those varying levels. So that makes up the additional positions that we're recommending. I don't know if that fully answered your question.
6 of the positions, FTEs, are coming from grants. So we're taking money that was covered in grants and we're moving it onto the taxpayer now, right? Because that flows through the budget. So there's no more grant monies that are allowed for that. It's taxpayer funded, correct?
So we are moving allocated funds based on projections that we are receiving from the state. I mean, obviously, those fluctuate from year to year. Patrick could probably speak in a little bit more detail, but the funding that we receive, and that's going to be on another slide, that's from the different titles, IDEA, UPK, all of those types of funding that we receive, it's going to fluctuate based on, what we receive from the federal government. So we're kind of proactively and conservatively moving that into the general fund because later on we don't want to be shorthanded, in the event that in order to continue the instructional programs that we want for our students, we want to make sure that we're able to do so. So we're kind of proactively and yet, conservatively figuring the number that we're going to get from the federal government and moving those positions into the general fund.
So, I mean, I understand what you've shared, just still not clear on the headcount increase with a 4.2% reduction in student enrollment in a 2-year time period. So if we're not prepared to answer it today, that's fine. But I think that if student enrollment continues to decline and we're increasing headcount, those are counterintuitive to each other. I'm not saying that we can't do it, but are there separate programs? Are there other things that are required that these headcount are going to add programs, special classes? I'm just not clear still on that.
The only thing, Michael, I would say about the special aid fund, which is what we're talking about with the grant, the way we account for grants is called the special aid fund, the F fund, is there can be some ebb and flow with that year in and year out. So there's another slide we're about to look at that shows it's about 37, I think, FTEs total that are in the grant. And we also, so number one, Chris mentioned this, the grant amount can change. There are rollover amounts, so if we don't spend the entire amount in 1 year, we're allowed to roll over some of that. There's limits on the rollover into the next year. So the grant amounts can fluctuate a little bit. What our needs are and how we use the money can fluctuate a little bit. And there's different philosophies about how grants should be used. Grants in general are supposed to supplement, not supplant, your program. So it's supposed to bolster the program, add to the program, not replace the program. So there can be an ebb and flow. And as Chris mentioned, 6 FTEs, and we'll see that in another slide, into the general fund are because of that ebb and flow. What I would say when you say the taxpayers are paying for it, true, in a way. We also receive a lot of state aid in the general fund, so it's not 100% locally funded. There's funding through the state. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about how state aid works. It's supposed to be equalizing, those with low wealth would receive more and high wealth would receive less. So, overall, that makes up a good chunk of what you're seeing in terms of the FTE increase.
And also, though, I will mention too, we do, especially in the curriculum office, we do monitor current enrollments and class sizes and projections very closely. It's something that we meet about and we discuss on a regular basis. We base the projections on our current enrollment trends and cohort movement, and then we monitor them closely and we make adjustments as needed, sometimes in the middle of the school year, like we had to do where we had a couple temporary positions this year, and then we're making the recommendation to make those probationary next year. So yes, while we've added some positions tied to the enrollment, we're trying to maintain programs too for our students and give them the best opportunity as well in the classroom setting.
I understand, but that statement is nebulous at best. What programs, what's trying to be maintained. So I think it's just a follow-up item.
Sure.
Because it's a pretty big headcount increase. So I think we need to have a good answer for the community.
Yeah, we can look into the element involving the special aid fund too a little bit more and provide more info on that.
Okay.
All right, just in the interest of time, since we have 2 presentations tonight, let Mr. Berger and Mr. Cahill get through these, and if there's additional questions, because they indicated that some of the additional slides may explain some of the questions that come up. So if we could save questions to the end, maybe we'll let them get through. Thank you.
Sounds good to me. All right, the next slide is the Special Aid Fund FTE summary. This is showing you the amount of FTEs that represent what we're projecting to be covered by grant funding based on the title, IDEA, and UPK grants that we receive from both the federal and state government. So this year, for this upcoming school year, we are projecting that 37 total FTEs will be covered by these allocations of the title grants, IDEA funds that we receive,
it's a very minimal amount that we received from UPK as well, but all of those tied in will cover, as of right now, 37 total FTEs for next school year. Staff salaries, the majority of the salary increases are driven by contractual obligations within our collective bargaining agreements. Overall, the rate of increase has actually slightly decreased from last year. Last year was at 3.53%, to this year is at 3.24%. And that does factor in the additions that we spoke to before. So again, the majority of the salary increases are slightly, decreasing from last year, the overall percentage. And then if you have specific questions about any of these and you want me to go back afterwards, I'm happy to go over them. The staff salaries pie chart. This chart shows that the vast majority of our personnel budget, which is just over 82%, is allocated towards our instructional staff. That's consistent with last year. Last year was at 82.44%, so about the same. And again, it reflects our focus on supporting classroom instruction and supporting our students. Employee benefits. So the employee benefits overall are increasing by 5.9%, which is primarily driven by a blended 7% increase in health insurance premiums for the OU health insurance plan. Our health insurance contributions are made up of active employees' health insurance, retirees, and also there's Medicare in there as well that we're paying. So you see the vast majority of the difference. The big chunk is being spent on health insurance. Overall, there's a change of 5.9% increase. And again, I'm happy to go back and answer any specific questions on this slide as well. You see the corresponding pie chart here, which shows the allocation of dollars being spent on employee benefits, with health insurance accounting for the largest share, just under 57%.
I have a quick question. The increase, is this just the premium increases, or this is a change in the type of the health insurance and the benefits covered?
No, and Patrick may be able to. He's
Yeah,
on
I can
board for
address
OU
this.
Health, but it's mostly due to the 7% premium increase.
Premium increase.
Yeah, and the 7%, Chris said, it's a blended increase because there are different types of coverage. There's single family,
Right.
family, 2-family, 3-family, and more than 6 is a new category. So there's different rates. There's different rates actually for the retirees as well. But in the aggregate, the overall increase is 7%. So depending on our composition of active and retirees and which categories they fall into for coverage, that rate can be a little less or a little more than 7.
So the key takeaways that you should take from this is ultimately this budget is centered on one core goal, which is providing all of our students with a high-quality education. We've done that by strategically adding and reallocating instructional staff to meet our students' needs, while also planning ahead for areas like enrollment, special education, potential changes in funding that may come down from the federal government. And at the same time, we believe that we've remained focused on fiscal responsibility, making thoughtful and measured decisions, and always considering the impact on our taxpayers while providing an excellent education and opportunity for our kids and community. Any questions going back to any of the slides or things that you would like me to elaborate on?
I have one question. The reduction of one security, why is that?
So that is directly tied to the position this year was a full-time safety officer. It was filled with a substitute. It's a full-time substitute, but technically considered a substitute. And because we rehired the position with a substitute, that person will remain in it, so it doesn't count for an FTE. So it looks like a reduction, but it's the same number of staff. It's just not a full-time security. It's coded as a substitute safety officer.
So it's still person in the body, still
Correct.
time, doing the same thing, just how we code it.
And if you look at the budget reports that actually show the codes and the money, there's an increase in the code that
Perfect.
deals with subs.
Appreciate it, thank you.
I don't have any other questions right now, just the follow-ups that I've asked for before.
Whenever
And I
you'd
did
like to
look at the
follow up.
presentation ahead of time, so that's why I knew what was coming, and you had opened up the floor to questions if we had any on the items, so that's
Yeah,
why I asked
I'm
them when I did.
Happy to answer them to the best of my ability, so. Now we're follow-up, you let me know, and I can get back to you with the information needed.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Our next presentation is an update on district goals by Superintendent Dr. Tracy Norman, Dr. Eric Hassler, and Dr. Karen Morales, Patrick Cahill, Dr. Vyas, and Chris Berger.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to give you an update on our district goals, and we'll just go through each goal, and each assistant superintendent will present their department, and at the end, I'll just kind of summarize where we are. Dr. Hassler.
You want to go through the goals, or we're gonna?
These are our district goals. Next slide. Next slide.
All right.
Dr. Hassler.
So the district goals continue to, they remain consistent from the update that we provided in December. Goal 1, creating conditions to increase students' understanding and application of academic content, is really broken down into a series of action steps and tasks. And so Karen and I will both go through each of the various tasks and talk about the actions that have taken place since December. The first portion of that is to review and monitor student attendance and performance to increase student outcomes. Even though it says that we were at 50% in December and 75%, that 75% completion is only our completion for the current school year, where we monitor student achievement data on an ongoing basis. That's not only state standardized assessments, that includes benchmark and common assessments that are administered on an annual basis. We are at 75% completion for the school year. However, that will go back to the beginning, and that process will continue into next school year, where we'll start from the beginning again in September. So that 75% completion is just for this year's worth of work.
So our next action,
Go ahead.
our next action item was our curriculum council, and you'll see our updated notes since then was that we've transitioned to more targeted small group work that was initiated in January. We are in process of scheduling our learning walks. I will say that our weather and snow days have not necessarily helped us in scheduling this, and we want to ensure that it is as stress-free for our teachers. So that is our next step, which will help us with our vertical articulation and really bolstering our opportunity to inform the daily instructional opportunities within the classrooms.
And so the third task is the curriculum alignment to state and national standards. Similar to my comments regarding the first task, we're about 75% completion for the school year. However, curriculum review and alignment occurs on an annual basis. So we're 75% through the work that we've identified for the course of this school year. However, in September, that work is going to continue and roll over into the 26-27 school year.
Our next goal centers around the revision of our MTSS plan. So since our prior meeting, quite a bit of work has actually taken place for this goal. We've had our second district-wide meeting in February. All building-level MTSS teams have been formed. We are in process of implementing, somewhat on a trial basis, a kindergarten and first grade data collection tool. And we are working collaboratively to create a second through fifth grade tool as well. The math assessment alignment work has been initiated through both the elementary math committee, which has been reconvened, as well as with the secondary math department. Our PBIS teams, while Pine Tree's team has been solidly in place, teams are now identified and formed in all of our other buildings, with a first broad training scheduled for May. We are looking at a trial. STAR is our benchmark assessment. We are looking at a trial of the curriculum-based measures that come within that program for all of our Tier 3 students in grades K through 8. And during this whole process, we are updating and revising any of the documentation, paperwork, and framework that supports the MTSS revision.
Very similar to the work that's happening regarding MTSS, we're also conducting a review of our district special education plan. You may recall we developed a committee in the fall. The committee had a full committee meeting to kind of establish and review the status of our special education plan at the time. They then broke off into small groups representing our 3 directors, elementary, secondary, and pupil personnel services. Since working in small groups, the 3 directors have been working on updating the plan through the winter. That updated plan has since been shared with the entire committee. The committee is in the process of reviewing the plan. We will be reconvening the entire committee this spring to finalize the plan, to share it with the Board of Education for approval for the 26-27 school year. So currently, we're about 2/3 of the way through our work in that.
Any questions for our portion?
I have one question. I just, as we kind of move into the year end, I think it would be really helpful for the next time we talk about these goals to understand some of the impact. So the Curriculum Council, I understand a lot of this is creating the conditions, right? But the end goal is understanding and application of the academic content. So even if there's some output of the Curriculum Council or there's some metric that we can talk about that would support some of the structure you've put in place, it would be really helpful for year end.
Sure.
Thank you.
Code number 2, Mr. Chris Berger.
All right, good evening once again. I'm going to provide a brief update on goal number 2, which is to develop and maintain systems that focus on recruitment and retention of effective educators and support staff. So the first action step was to develop a task force to analyze recruitment gaps. That's been ongoing since the beginning of the school year. One of our key areas of focus has been analyzing recruitment gaps, particularly in those hard-to-fill positions, and in diversifying our applicant pool. We're continuing to refine our recruitment strategies. We've been doing things through job fairs, college partnerships. A lot of these are intertwined that you'll see with the other action steps. But social media outreach, recruitment videos, targeted incentives, while also using data such as applicant trends. We look at turnover and exit feedback really to guide our work and our recruitment practices. The second action step is to continue partnerships with local colleges. This too is ongoing. We've strengthened several college partnerships to build long-term hiring pipelines. You see some colleges and universities listed there, specifically with Mount St. Mary, SUNY New Paltz, Manhattanville, LIU. Those have been some partnerships that we have established and continue to work on throughout the year, offering programs for our existing staff, such as teacher aides that allows them to get their teaching certifications in certain areas if they wish to pursue. We have an admin cohort that is just about ready to receive their administrative degrees through SUNY New Paltz that was housed actually at the Monroe-Woodbury High School. We have a new admin cohort that's starting through Manhattanville. And through our partnerships, all of these have been at a discounted rate. LIU, we have a teaching assistant to teacher program for our teaching assistants if they want to become certified in some of those hard-to-fill positions, such as special education, E&L, and so forth, and again, all at a discounted rate. The third action step is to attend job fairs. These are great because it gives us kind of an opportunity to showcase our district strengths, how we provide professional support, competitive pay, the positive culture that we provide here at Monroe-Woodbury. The first one earlier this month, the HR team and I, along with some of the staff members from food services and transportation, represented the district at the Monroe Free Library. This was to proactively address some staffing shortages in areas such as bus drivers, food service workers, teacher aides, substitute positions, and it certainly proved to be a very successful day of networking. We have upcoming next week on March 25th, we will be at the Mid-Hudson Regional Teacher Recruitment Day, which is held out of SUNY New Paltz. And this was pretty unique because we were able to first analyze this year's anticipated resignations, any retirements, overall recruitment gaps, and based on that we coordinated with SUNY New Paltz to clearly define our hiring needs, and it allowed us to pre-screen submitted resumes through this process, and then to align candidates with our high priority certification areas. And then we have scheduled a full day's worth of 36 interviews that directly match with our upcoming vacancies. So hopefully we'll find some great potential candidates through that. And then the last one listed on here, this is kind of a fun one, is the Monroe-Woodbury High School Job Fair on April 21st. This event really just gives us an opportunity to connect with our existing students before they graduate high school and help them learn about things that we can offer here in the school district, whether it's part-time jobs in the near future, internships, future career opportunities, and it gives us an opportunity to really give back and work with our current student population. The last one on this slide is to update and implement interviewing protocols. So we are in the final draft phase of developing our updated hiring manual. We've consolidated the original 70-plus page manual that was written, about 10 years ago into something that is much more user-friendly, without removing any of the content or procedures. However, it is now digitalized. It includes standardized guidelines, recruitment procedures, interview protocols, evaluation tools, required forms that they'll need to fill out, and very important embedded resource links that will highlight best practices that's aligned with education law, labor law, civil service requirements, and so forth. At this point, the Cabinet is reviewing the final draft. And once it's approved by the superintendent, I'm going to schedule a meeting with the principals, the directors, the administrators, and then a separate training with the clerical staff as far as the implementation goes and to go over these procedures. And then from that point, we would like to pilot the new hiring procedures for the end of this school year. That way we can kind of gather feedback from the users, the administrators, the clerical members, and make any small tweaks that we need to before the full implementation is rolled out starting July 1st of next school year. But we're in very good shape there. The last 3 action steps for me, we have the training, which involves professional learning and development. Again, this is also ongoing as previously shared in the winter. The HR office has collaborated with a lot of the non-instructional departments to design targeted professional learning opportunities for all staff, including clerical, food services, custodial, safety, finance personnel, and so forth. These sessions were carefully aligned to the department needs, and we rely on the departments to tell us certain areas. So if the clerical team says, well, we'd like some practices in AI tools, how it can better support us in our role of clerical, we'll work with the MCC and we'll put together some trainings for them. Then we, like anything else, gather the participant feedback, which guides our future planning throughout the year, and some specific dates for superintendent conference days, one coming up at the end of this week, and then we have another one in May as well. But the professional learning should be designed so that it's ongoing throughout the year and to meet the needs of our staff. Mentoring, so we've continued this year to enhance the mentoring programs to support staff development and ultimately retention. We've further developed the administrator mentoring program to support the professional growth of our district leaders. This is where our non-tenured administrators are placed into groups. They've been meeting with cabinet members since the beginning of the school year to focus on themed topics that are being presented, and also just to help navigate situations that arise in the building level or within departments. We've also continued to review the teacher mentoring program with Dr. Morales and making sure that we're providing those extended mentorship for our newly hired and non-tenured instructional staff, again, as needed. And lastly, to monitor salaries, we're continuing to monitor and benchmark salaries across and against neighboring districts and statewide for that matter to make sure that we remain competitive. And then we take that information and make adjustments if necessary. This year we have adjusted our substitute rates based on our analysis in a couple of different areas with food service, transportation for bus drivers, safety aids was recently changed as well. Again, these efforts they support the overall goal of recruitment and retention of high quality staff. Any questions for me?
I just have a question. So the colleges, is it limited to those 4s that you put up there?
No, those programs are specifically that we've designed programs for our staff to participate in with discounted tuition rates, but we partner with other colleges obviously to just increase the pipeline of new teachers and the recruitment of staff. So, Oneonta is known for, their tech department, so we work with them so that we're able to hopefully secure teachers within that position directly from the school through student teaching, and, then they become familiar with our district and our practices, and we try to secure them early, assuming that they're doing a good job.
Right, so would you say then so the community understands, and you're being strategic on the universities you're reaching out to because they're a pipeline to Monroe-Woodbury. It's
Correct.
just not simply
based on
willy-nilly.
Certification needs, yes.
Right. I just want
Yes.
to make sure that the community understands that there is strategic impact and thought put into that, correct?
Correct, yes.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Goal number 3, Dr. Villas.
Good evening, Board. So the goal 3 is build a resilient cybersecurity framework for a safe and secure learning environment. We have done some good work in this area. Last year was our first year of first 6 control. This year is our second year of year 3. We reviewed the control set of 7 to 12 that has about 48 subcontrols. I'm happy to share that there is no significant finding even in this one. We have a draft report from the external auditors, and we are waiting for the audit committee to go through the process, and we'll be ready to take the next step. That work is, even though it says 90%, there is never 100% in that area. It's a constant ongoing work for us. Maintain the disaster recovery and incident response plan. Based on what's happening local, national, international, this is an ongoing process for us. We continue to take what is the threat assessment looks like and modify, learn from what's happening outside, and maintain our disaster recovery and incident response plan and adapt to that. Again, even though it's 100% completed for this year, it's an ongoing process. If we learn something that is not the norm, we go in and then modify and prepare ourselves to mitigate the threat or be ready for that incident. Professional learning, this is another area that is always ongoing. As we learn the new techniques of not so good side of technology, we continue to enhance our awareness, our training, our best practices by the way of doing some tabletop exercise and then trying to understand and learn more about the incident command system and then put it in place of pieces of the ICS together so then we are more prepared to respond to any specific incident that come across our way. Any question on that goal before I jump to the next one? So goal 4 is develop a comprehensive instructional technology plan. This is a positive side of technology. We continue to work with our robust technology committee. It's made up of a variety of different stakeholders. We have a draft plan that is being reviewed internally for a different with the different stakeholders. And ultimately, once everybody is on the same page with their suggestions and corrections, our next step will be submit this plan to the New York State through our local BOCES and RIC for their approval, and then it will be in effect starting July 1st next year. Audit existing infrastructure and device and digital resources. This was kind of a prerequisite for us to review first when we started working over our instructional technology plan. And it has given us some good insights of what do we have, how do we use it, that allows us to take the specific goals as the instructional technology plan goals. And the last one is the continuously ongoing professional development for our educators and effective technology integration. We continue to innovate how we offering our professional development to not only the instructional staff, but also the non-instructional staff as well. What is the AI looks like for our non-instructional staff, as well as what is the integration of AI looks like for our instructional staff. We have a professional development day this week and one in May, and we continue to enhance that portfolio of offerings. Along that line, we also have instituted the Technology Tip of the Month this year. It's a quick 15 minutes Google Meet that allows us to bring the team together and learn from each other. Same thing with the Educational Technology Time that we publish once a month. Any question on that?
In terms of the AI integration on the other side of it, I know that there is use of AI in terms of our students. Is there any technology that we're implementing to give teachers the tools to know that what they're getting submitted in terms of work product from the students aren't AI generated, keeping everyone honest in that aspect?
So it's a very good question. Now, as AI is continuously evolving, there is not a significant tool or two out there, because the minute they find it, they actually figure it out how to continuously enhance it. Our approach is to go through the education route of what does the AI-generated work looks like versus what is the work that is produced by Bhargav, knowing Bhargav as a student in 6 or 8 months of the school year. So it's not a specific about tool, it's about learning the concept and implementing that as a part of the integration in technology.
Some of the universities have actually looked at submitting
Speaking to Microphone.
Can't hear you.
work. Some of the universities have implemented submitting your high school essays. When you submit your college essay, they would ask you for your high school essays. So they can compare your writing styles and figure out whether you have used AI-generated essays.
It's also classroom best practice. Again, our teachers know the student work from September till now, and is there a growth, or is this growth fueled by the AI tool?
And also, there's on-demand writing.
Yes, good point. All right.
I have one quick question for you. So in regard to your DR plan, is that something that all the administrators have a copy of, or just specific use case people?
We have a copy specific to the specific, contained with the specific people. However, overarching understanding is what happens in that process. This is actually one area that we need to do a little bit more work of enhancing our understanding and work with our internal administrator of what does that mean to us. Good question. It's actually one of the recommendation from Dr. Norman in my 6 months evaluation. Putting out too much PII out there. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is goal number 5, our strategic plan. So I'll focus you to the left in the task column. We've been doing this work to the left all year. And I want to thank the board for being a part of this work, particularly our members that serve on this committee, Mr. Reynolds, and our Board of Ed President, Ms. Simmons. So the focus for the first half of the year was to basically collect feedback from all of our stakeholders that make up our community. And we wanted to do this in multiple forms, and we partnered with Generation Ready to get this work done. So what you're looking at is 100% complete. meaning that we formed small group forums, community sessions, and we heard from all the stakeholders that make up our community. Students, non-instructional, instructional staff, parents, community members, so on and so forth. We have heard from over 4,000 people that make up our community. And I have to say, some of the feedback or data that we collected was humbling. But the next phase of that was to make meaning of the data. So that's where Generation Ready came in. And they have done a phenomenal job of collecting this data and, more importantly, telling us what it means. So, next slide. So the next phase of this is now to create goals. So now that we've collected data, we understand what it means. The logical step is to try and affect it through a 5-year plan. So while we're just starting this, we have moved some. Just this week, we started meeting in small groups, looking at this data, unpacking it, and some of our focus areas or our special areas are forming goals, which would probably put us at about 50%, and we expect that to change over the next month. And that bottom task, obviously, we haven't published a plan yet, so we haven't had any movement in terms of publishing it. But I do feel that by the end of the year, we will be able to bring forth to the community a plan that spells out 5-year goals. I also want to add that I think this is an area where we do need to do a presentation to the board and the public separately, strictly about the strategic plan. I've spoken with Generation Ready, so I'd like for them to come and just kind of unpack this so that we have a good understanding. Even though we're talking about it here, it's just brief, but so hopefully we can get that on the calendar at some point later in the spring. Questions?
Yes. It's more of just an observation when I had read it outside of the meeting. It says surveys to be distributed in January 2026, community sessions to be held in January 2026. Just the language is confusing because I don't know if it was done in that area. Obviously, it did say conducted small groups with that above that, but it says fall of 2025. And then action on the other goal 5, it says to be completed once survey results. So it's 50% there. So I think just the note in those action items might, just for clarification purposes, I was a little confused when I read it outside of the meeting.
Yes, it did happen in that order. If you go back, Marco. I'm sorry. Yeah, it did happen. We did do those things in January, and we did do that work in the fall of 2025. But the wording, I see your point, could be confusing. Yes. Next slide. And at 50%, it's kind of hit or miss. It's not exact, but we have started working on the goals.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I'm not concerned about the percentages. I think there's been great headway along all the plans. Yeah. So it was just the wording here was a little bit confusing for me. Yeah. But I thank you.
Understood. Next slide. Goal number 6. Mr. Patrick Cahill.
Okay, goal number 6 concerned coordinating, planning, and executing our district-wide multi-year capital program and facilities management projects. And the first task is dealing with phase 1 of the project. And I say the project, we've talked about the project. It was 2 authorizations in 2023 and 2025. And the project is really categorized or organized into 4 phases. So phase 1 had to do with boiler replacements at Smith Clove, the high school, addition of security vestibules, and renovation of the education center. So we are in the punch list phase, which means the design phase, the construction phase is essentially over. We went from 50% in December to 60%, not a huge increase, moved the needle a little bit, but a lot of the punch list stuff, or some of it will be done spring break. And so once those punch list items are dealt with, the rest, the filing with SED, I've talked about that, the substantial completion filing, and the FCR's final cost report, really important filing with SED because that drives state aid. That stuff will go very quickly. Tonight on the agenda, we had substantial completion for the Central Valley Security Vestibule documentation, so you'll approve that tonight. Once that's done, we can do that final cost report. That will be closed out, and state aid would then begin or be eligible to flow. Next task is the public relations component of the project. Again, we went from 50% to 70%. We're now ready with some posters and some things that would go in the lobbies, et cetera. Took a little time. There's differing opinions on the artistic element, but at the end of the day, we want the information out there. We want people to just be aware of the project and what's happening with the project. Continuation of goal number 6. So the next task is monitoring and supporting the program overall, including the implementation of phase 2. So phase 2 is largely about work at Pine Tree, and we've talked about that a lot, and the reconstruction of the tennis courts. So the design work's complete, the bids and the awards are complete, awarding bids to contractors. We did that at a previous board meeting. Construction has started on the tennis courts, and work will begin at Pine Tree over spring break. So we went from 25 to 50%. I have winter and spring. This will spill into the next fiscal year because we anticipate the phase 2 work to largely occur over the summer. Next task was finalizing the capital project financing and debt issuance. So we went from 25% to 40%. We're not quite there. Been working with our fiscal advisor on a plan. We have a little time because we're currently financing the project with our capital reserves. But we will have that worked out, I would say, this spring for sure. So continuing with goal number 6, coordinate and execute the renovation of the education center. So that is ongoing. The construction is largely complete. We went from 50% to 75% complete. The roof has been replaced. The windows have been replaced. The repointing, which is repairing the brick exterior, has been completed. We had a little setback where we had a fire caused by the construction, and that is where we are now, reconstruction of 2 offices that were damaged by the fire. We've also done work in the auditorium, which has come out really great. The meeting room for the board. We've done some new flooring. We've made some other upgrades to the building as well. So we will, I would say, be done by the end of the fiscal year. District-wide installation of classroom window air conditioners, so that is 100% complete. We're looking forward to that this spring when the temperatures get warmer. Develop final feasibility study and plan for implementation of zero-emission buses. So we have gone from 50 to 90%. We have our draft report. There are a few things we need to bring back and clarify with our architects. I had mentioned some of these at previous meetings, some of these issues, that is. So we are nearly 100% on that. Any questions at this point? Okay.
I don't have a question per se. I just, the jargon that's used, FCR and TPG, and if we could, especially for the public consumption.
Yes.
I don't remember what an FCR was when
Absolutely,
I was looking
Michael,
at it.
great point. I'm sorry.
It's a finance
I get
thing.
annoyed with the acronyms too. I like to explain what they are. Sorry about that.
That was it. Otherwise, I had nothing.
All right. Okay, goal number 7 largely has to do with fiscal stewardship, financial resources. So, the major primary task here was increasing the number of internal audits that the district conducts. We were doing 1 annual audit annually, and the internal audit is a little different than the external audit. We have really 3 auditors. We have an external audit, which is our financial statements, which are looked at typically in the summer. We have an internal auditor who reviews does a risk assessment of the district every year and then looks into a focus area, picks a focus area. and that's what I'm talking about here. So we're doing 3 internal audits this year. We worked with the audit committee. We picked the 3 areas of focus, and there I go again with an acronym, PPS, Pupil Personnel Services, ECF, Extra Classroom Fund, so that's the student funds at the high school, middle school, and governance and planning has to do with the board governance, et cetera. So we were 25% complete. We're now 50. Those audits are underway and moving along. Continuing goal number 7, this one has to do with the development of the budget. So as of December, we were 15% complete. We're now, I'll say, 85% complete. We've gone through the process. We heard from Mr. Berger tonight about the staffing and benefits. So we're nearly there. I sent the board a boardgram that kind of laid out some of the other assumptions and recommendations that we have in the budget. So that will definitely be wrapped up soon. And finally, goal number 8 has to do with safety and security. So task 1 was continuation of the protocol development with distribution of information to staff. So we've been working on it. It's been an ongoing thing. We've been working with Mr. Tripotto on that, Director of Safety Security. So we have developed the vestibule procedures. We were 25% in December. We're now at 80%. We've rolled that out. We have, I think pretty uniform procedures now everywhere, which is great. Uniformity, consistency is what we're striving for. Implementation of the new remote panic alarm system. So again, Mr. Tripotto, Dr. Villas have been working on this. This is the Centegic remote panic alarm system. So we were at 25% in December. I would estimate we're at 75% now. We're in the testing phase of that. We will move from testing. I understand there's a few little integration issues which have cropped up, but we are moving along with that, and we will have that, I think, fully operational by the end of the year. And finally, we had a pilot program here at the high school where we procured go bags, lockdown kits for the classrooms, and so we were 75% complete in December, and we're at 100 now. So that's a pilot, something that it's a best practice. It's recommended in the realm of safety security, so we may start to roll that out district-wide.
I have a question on that last item. It says 100% complete, but it says awaiting final items. So that gives me an indication as open items.
I would say that is a typo, Michael.
Okay.
It should be updated. I didn't really change the action items, the narrative, and I should have taken that off.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So in conclusion, I want to highlight just 2 things. The first is that these goals are global, so there are many things happening in our district that's not spoken about or highlighted today. Lots of great work that's taking place. Can you go back to slide 5, please? Goal 5. Stop. Back. Yeah. The other thing I want to point out is that if you look at the task where we're refining long and short-term goals, these will be the district goals for next year. We have work being done and we're developing goals, and different from this year is that we have 2 different sets of goals. But once we reach the point where we have strategic goals, they will become the district goals, obviously with the board's approval. But we have the committees in place and we're doing this work now, and everybody's represented. We have board members sitting there, cabinet members, teachers, administrators, so on and so forth. So I want to point those 2 things out. Now back to Dan. So subject to your questions, this concludes our presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone for those presentations, and we'll continue the meeting. Motion to approve the March 4th meeting minutes.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carries. Motion to approve items 9.1 through 9.5.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carries. Reports by Board of Education committees. Audit Committee, Trustee Sariello.
We had to reschedule our planned meeting. Patrick, do you know, we don't have a confirmed date yet, do we?
We do not, no.
Yeah. So I'll have an update at the next meeting.
Thank you. Policy meeting, Vice President Donahue.
Yeah, we have not met since our last board meeting. Our next meeting is on the 27th of March at 4 p.m. at the Harriman Center. And as always, excuse me, as always, these meetings are open to the public.
Thank you. Visitation Committee and Capital Project Task Force, Trustee Reynolds.
Capital project, no update since the last meeting, and our next meeting for visitation is 13 April. We'll be visiting the great school of Sapphire, walking through and enjoying all the fun things there.
Thank you so much. And report by Student Representative Ms. Isamore.
Hi, good evening, happy Wednesday. The last visitation I had was at Smith Clove Elementary last week, Wednesday, March 11th, and I had a great group of kids that answered all my questions. So starting off, they really liked recess time, especially that day I came last week because that was like the 2 days it was really nice out, so they were super excited to go and play. Most of the kids liked writing and reading, while a couple of them liked math. They said that they wanted more time in the morning to play with their toys, and because of that, they really liked 2-hour delays. They all, each and every one of them, loved gym class and loved playing the games that gym had. They also really liked talking to each other, and a lot of students already there were already friends with one another, so that's great to see. A couple of the students told me that they really like to draw and wanted more time in class to draw and paint. Most of the students said that they wish that they could talk to their teachers about more things besides if anything bad happens or if anyone gets hurt, but all in all, just more instances to be able to talk to your teachers about other subjects. A student said that their teacher really cares about anyone if they get hurt. And a student said that they don't like doing any of the stuff that they don't like to do. I asked them what they wanted to be when they grew up, and I got answers of a cop, a fashion designer, a YouTuber, a sloth, a scientist, a singer and dancer, a teacher, another scientist, but to make Pokemon real, a rocket scientist, and someone said everything all at once. When sad or uncomfortable, they said that they talk to each other, their parents, or their teachers. A student said that they wish that everyone could have a best friend, like their own best friend, which I thought was really kind. Another student wished for a camera, robots, a pool in the school to do flips underwater, and a unicorn. Many of the students really wanted pickles for some reason. Like, all in all, they all were like so excited for pickles. I don't. Another student said that they also wanted beef jerky that never stops growing. Someone wished for a big closet with costumes that everyone could dress up in, even teachers. Another did ask for a Nintendo Switch, a PS5, but another way to see their friends even outside of school, like birthday parties. Lastly, they all really like to go to the library and read books there. I had a great time with the students. They were very energetic and excited, so thank you so much for Dr. Earl for having me and making me feel so very welcome. My next visit will be at Central Valley next week, Wednesday, March 25th. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you, as always, for the insightful presentations. On to personnel. Is there a motion to approve personnel items 12.1 through 12.15?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carries. Business and financials. Is there a motion to approve business and financial items 13.1 through 13.6?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carries. Committees on Special Education and Preschool Education. Is there a motion to approve items 14.1 through 14.5? Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carries. Reports by Board and Central Office. Mr. Bellino. Starting with you today.
Thank you for putting me on the spot right away. So, thank you to everybody for your presentations today. It's very enlightening to see what all of you do all day and the hard work you put in for the students to make sure that they have the resources they need, the staff they need, and to make sure that we are here to support each other. So thank you for that. Thank you, Zoe, for all the information you always give us. So, yeah, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Dr. Hassler?
So you may recall that we had established a goal through our district leadership committee this year to support emotional wellness, specifically regarding social media and technology use, as we sort of rolled out this distracted-free learning environment initiative over the course of the year. In addition to a variety of presentations and assemblies that we've done for parents, we developed a book club to discuss Jonathan Haidt's Anxious Generation. This past Monday evening, we had the second session of the book club with what I thought was great conversation. There are 2 sessions remaining, so if anybody's interested in participating, feel free to send me an email. It's not too late to join. Second, thank you to the middle school for hosting. In the spirit of your Random Acts of Kindness mural that was unveiled before the meeting this evening, I attended the St. Patrick's Day Bingo at Valley View Nursing Home this past weekend, and it was attended by a bunch of our high school Interact students who were there volunteering, and it just further showed me that you can go just about anywhere in this region, and students from our school district are doing just absolutely amazing, amazing things. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Mr. Berger?
Good evening once again. Thank you to the middle school for hosting us this evening. The mural looks incredible. I love to see the vibrant colors, and the fact that the students were involved in it. It was a great touch, and it brightens up the hallways for sure. I also want to acknowledge the exceptional guidance department at the middle school and the building administrators that we have here at the middle school for hosting a fantastic middle school career fair this past week or so. But it was incredible, and it's great to see that every year it expands and becomes bigger and bigger, and with more and more vendors for our students to be engaged and ask career-oriented questions. It was a fantastic morning, so great job to the middle school team. As always, I'd like to congratulate and welcome to the district our new hires. We did have a number of leave replacements that were approved tonight. I also want to congratulate the retirees with their upcoming retirements that were approved tonight as well, and just thank them as always for their service and dedication to our district over the years. And lastly, just want to wish good luck to our high school drama club on their upcoming performance this weekend. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Ms. Novak?
A huge thank you to the middle school for hosting us tonight and for hosting an incredible career fair. It was really fun. Thank you to the presenters, and the mural is inspiring and incredible. I'm glad I got to see it tonight. Have a good night, everyone.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, the mural is amazing, so well done on all that. Again, I'd like to highlight the JROTC program that the team here has worked hard to get quickly, which I greatly appreciate, as it gives opportunities to our students at Monroe-Woodbury. At the end of the day, I feel is the main goal. So thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. Dr. Morales?
Good evening. I just wanted to take a moment and provide some updates after Zoe's report from North Main. So a few things that I can say we've definitely made some progress on. I think our students will be happy to hear that smiley fries, crispy chicken, and dumplings will reappear on the menu. And as well, Mr. Davis and Ms. Greenblatt will be working out a system to allow students to provide more feedback, so that will be forthcoming. The next area, they're right. The soccer goals were removed when the field goals were put in. Mr. Davis and I spoke with Mr. Wilson, and 2 soccer goals are going to be delivered shortly back to the North Main lower field. The other one, there was discussion about more time to be outdoors. So conversations have been started about the possibility of securing additional furniture that would allow for their courtyard to become more of an instructional space outdoors. And then finally, as far as the water bottles, we can't necessarily change that there is a charge for the water that's purchased from the cafeteria. However, there are fountains that students can refill their bottle. And again, similar to what's happened in other buildings, if students do need a reusable water bottle, they can go to the main office and they'll be helped there with water bottles. As far as everything else, duly noted, some of those we can make progress on. I'm very nervous about the Smith Clove. I don't know that I can deliver the unicorn, but that's where we are for now. So I just wanted to update on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Valles.
Thank you, middle school, for hosting us. And Mural, 8th grade students, you are awesome with that. Really vibrant, colorful, just brightens the whole hallway and the entire middle school. And big shout out to middle school students, teachers, and administrators for a successful career day. I wish I would be that kid walking around in my 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. Maybe a different career choice. Good night, everyone.
Mr. Sariello.
I want to thank the middle school for hosting, because I know there is work that goes into this, and it's not a little bit of work to get us up here. I also want to thank for the budget presentations. My 6 years on the board, this has been the best budget presentation season that I've participated in, so I really appreciate that. I also appreciated the updates on the goals, the movement on the goals, the percentages last time and this time really gives a perspective, so thank you for putting that in. I also want to wish the high school theater, and I say this because I was told I have to say this, they break a leg on the SpongeBob show, because that is what you use in the theater vernacular. Otherwise, if you say something different, it actually, they think, has the opposite effect. So it's important to make sure you use their vernacular properly. So I hope they have excellent turnout this weekend, and thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. Mr. Cahill.
So I'd just like to echo what others have said, and also like to thank my colleagues for the work in the budget development process. We're almost there. 85% is what I had on the board. And with that, I hope everyone has a nice evening. Thank you.
Dr. Koifman.
Great to be back in middle school, and definitely appreciate the effort that was put into the presentations tonight. Very informative. And have a great night.
Zoe.
Thank you so much for the middle school for having us. That mural was wonderful. Also, another shout out to the middle school's theater department. Their showing of Interwoods Jr. was phenomenal. I loved it. The set was great. The acting was great. The delivery, the ensemble, it was beautiful. It was amazing. I also encourage everyone to pop out to the high school for SpongeBob the Musical this weekend. Before this meeting, I actually just came from a very long rehearsal, so I highly encourage you guys to come and show up. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Vice President Donahue.
Thank you to the middle school for hosting us. The mural, there can't be enough said about how awesome it is. It's really beautiful. I'd also like to congratulate our retirees and our new hires, and thank everyone for their presentations this evening. I saw Into the Woods, and I saw Finding Nemo Jr. Both were incredible. The talent in this district is amazing, and I can't wait to see the high school musical this weekend.
Dr. Norman.
Good evening. I echo all the comments that have been said tonight. I want to begin by acknowledging all of our families and staff, particularly those in the Pine Tree community who was impacted most by the storm. I appreciate your understanding and flexibility. I know it's been hard this year, and parents make plans and having to change them at the last minute. So I really appreciate your prioritizing with safety first and understanding that. Just a reminder, schools are closed next Friday, March 20th, and also looking ahead, March 30th through Friday, April 3rd for spring break. I want to just say best of luck to the middle school Odyssey of the Mind team, led by Coach McNerney and Coach Rivera, who will be competing at the state competition on March 21st in Syracuse. Good luck to you. Lastly, tomorrow, I will be conducting my super sub at the middle school. For the 8th grade class, I'll be subbing for Stephanie Amarno. Hopefully, this young lady gets to take a break and just take a breather for an hour or two. The class that I'll be subbing for is going to talk about the Holocaust and resilience. So, looking forward to that and making a difference with our children. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you. Just a reminder, the Board of Education is seeking a member of the Monroe-Woodbury High School class of 2027 to serve as the student representative for the 2026 and 2027 school year. In this role, the student representative serves as a voice for all students by meeting with students and administrators from across the district's 7 schools and providing brief reports at Board of Education meetings, as Zoe does so well. Interested students should complete the online application available on the district's website by April 10th of 2026. A board committee will conduct interviews in May, and the selected candidate will be announced by the end of the school year. And echoing the sentiments of everyone, thank you for all of the informational presentations. I want to give a huge shout out to the Strategic Plan Committee. There is a lot of talent throughout the district that put a very intentional, thoughtful, and purposeful work and viewpoint into creating the strategic plan. So thank you all for all the work that you've done. Into the Woods Junior, congrats to Miss Murray on a phenomenal performance. For the Pine Tree Drama Club, Finding Nemo Junior was phenomenal. And I'm going to echo the sentiments of Trustee Ceriello to the high school students. Break a leg for SpongeBob this weekend. Thank you all. Have a good night. Motion to adjourn to exec session to discuss a pending legal matter.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carries. The meeting is adjourned.